Have you ever gotten into a fight with a friend about the way money is made and circulated throughout the U.S., but it's like 1700? Well, Aham and TJ can relate.
Hello, and welcome to Dissecting Debates with Hayley, Ginny, and Caryn. In today's episode, we'll be talking about one of the longest and most influential rivalries in U.S. history. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy.
Once the U.S. gained their independence, the government was a bit of a hot mess. The Articles of Confederation didn't work, and now with the new U.S. Constitution, bitter debates between the Federalist and Democratic-Republican parties were bigger than ever.
There was no precedent setting how the Constitution had to be followed, so there were many interpretations on what was unconstitutional. Federalists, like the Secretary of Treasury, Alexander Hamilton, believed that the Constitution should be loosely followed. But Democratic Republicans, like Secretary of State Thomas Jefferson, believed that the Constitution should be strictly followed.
The tension between the members of George Washington's cabinet made it hard for Congress to make big decisions. One of these happened to be about the creation of the First National Bank, aka BUS.
Why create a national bank? The Federal History Reserve explains that throughout the 1780s, the country was in major debt. Alexander Hamilton introduced the idea of a national bank that could store public funds and issue currency. On the other hand, Thomas Jefferson argued that a national bank would give the federal government way too much power. He was big on states' rights and dreamed of agriculture taking over the country's economy, not Hamilton's ideals of industry.
The two of them went at it for a while. Neither side was willing to budge. These arguments spread throughout the country into both the Federalist and Democratic Republican parties. Tensions were high, and Aham needed to get congressional approval for the national bank. But Jefferson wasn't about to give it to him that easily. Cue the room where it happens. At first, Hamilton's plan to assume state debt was not going to go through because Southern congressmen like James Madison were trying to block it. Hamilton met privately with Madison and Jefferson to attempt to convince them to vote for his plan to go through.
In the end, the three came to an agreement. How did three people with such different opinions on political matters come to an agreement over something so important? Like so many other big decisions made throughout U.S. history, they made a compromise. The Compromise of 1790.
Jefferson and Madison would only agree to vote for Hamilton's plan if the United States capital could be moved from New York to Virginia.
Many were surprised that Hamilton would give up the U.S. capital that easily. But Hamilton was a smart guy. He knew that as long as the banks were in New York, it didn't really matter where the capital was, because New York held the money.
The National Archives went into great detail about the private meeting and the reasoning behind it. The bill was signed in 1791, and the National Bank opened on December 12, 1791. Although Hamilton and Jefferson never really stopped debating, their compromise over the National Bank was for the best. The bank was open and controlled all government funds until the 1830s when Andrew Jackson shut it down. But that's a story for another time.
This historical event would be classified as debate because it was a long-lasting argument between not only Hamilton and Jefferson, but also the Federalist and Democratic-Republican parties. If you didn't catch all that, here's the best recap of all time, a song from the Tony-winning musical Hamilton, written by Lin-Manuel Miranda. We bring to you Cabinet Battle Number 1, Hayley, Ginny, and Caryn's version.
Ladies and gentlemen, you could have been anywhere in the world tonight, but you're here with us in New York City. Are you ready for a cabinet meeting, huh? The issue on the table: Secretary Hamilton's plan to assume state debt and establish a national bank. Secretary Jefferson, you have the floor, sir.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We fought for these ideals, we shouldn't settle for less. These are Wadsworth's words, enterprising men quote them. Don't act surprised, you guys, cause I wrote them. Ow, but Hamilton forgets. His plan would have the government assume states' debts. Now place your bets as to who that benefits. The very seat of government where Hamilton sits.
Not true.
Oh, if the shoe fits, wear it. If New York's in debt, why should Virginia bear it? Our debts are paid, I'm afraid. Don't tax the South, cause we got it made in the shade. In Virginia, we plant seeds in the ground. We create, you just want to move our money around. This financial plan is an outrageous demand. There's too many damn pages for any man to understand. Stand with me in the land of the free and pray to God we never see Hamilton's candidacy. When Britain taxed our tea, we got frisky. Imagine what gonna happen when you try to tax our whiskey.
Thomas, that was a real nice declaration. Welcome to the present. We're running a real nation. Would you like to join us? Or stay in mellow doing whatever the hell it is you do in Monticello? If we assume the debts, the union gets a new line of credit, a financial diuretic. How do you not get it? If we're aggressive and competitive, the union gets a boost. Do you rather give it a sedative? A civics lesson from a slaver. Hey neighbor, your debts are paid because you don't pay for labor. We plant seeds in the South. We create. Yeah, keep ranting. We know who's really doing the planting. And another thing, Mr. Age of Enlightenment, don't lecture me about the war. You didn't fight in it. You think I'm frightened of you, man? We almost died in the trench while you were off getting high with the French. Thomas Jefferson always hesitant with the president. There isn't a plan he doesn't jettison. Madison, you mad as a hatter, son, take your medicine. Damn you in worse shape than the national debt is in. Sitting there, useless as two shits. Hey, turn around, bend over, I'll show you where my shoe fits.